bid caps and lookalikes, manual bidding and lookalike audiences. Now, these are some of the favorite tools, some of the favorite Facebook hacks. But remember, Facebook hacks are for Facebook hacks. I'm going to walk you through a quick tour of how this technology works. We're going to use some really, really fun real-world examples and honestly get down to why some really fun success today might be the reason you hit your knees well before you ever get your feet off the ground. And why, if anybody ever tells you the path to success is to set yourself up for failure, you can kind of give them one of these. So let's dissect these two widely used and terribly misunderstood staples of the Facebook hack. Facebook hacks are for Facebook hacks. So why are you losing confidence? Why are your ads dying so quickly? Why are your CPMs climbing? Why are your results less and less stable? Why doesn't broad work for you? Why does your business struggle even when Facebook has a good ROAS? Why can't you scale? And why won't the next agency or expert fix all of your problems? Well, it's all related. Now, remember, Facebook is a machine learning algorithm, so we're going to dive into how that data works. And most importantly, we're going to focus on why your success today has a lot to do with how you've set yourself up over the last few moves, and why your lack of success tomorrow and your struggles that are in the next coming weeks and months have a lot to do with your inability to set a foundation to build upon. We're going to decode all of this stuff right now. So why pair bid caps and lookalikes? Well, they both work off of basically the same foundation, your existing data. And they use your existing data to make predictive decisions to give you preferential ad spend among the available inventory. Basically, they say, well, we know who's going to probably like you, so let's go out and find him, which is great. That sounds awesome. But there is a super deep dark side to using all these shortcuts. Of course, yin and yang. And if you've been paying attention to the text so far, if you've been listening to it and reading between the tea leaves, I hope that you're going to start to understand where this is going. So let's treat this as a nightclub with a bouncer and see why you're going out of business. What could possibly go wrong? We're using our existing data, and we're going to use that to predict success for the future. Based on the information that we have, you'll find other people that look like it. With a bid cap, understanding how much you're going to be able to pay to reach people. And a lookalike saying, well, we found a bunch of these folks. Let's just find more people that we already know that look like the folks that are already successful. Remember, when you drain the bucket faster than you fill it up, eventually that bucket runs dry. And we have to remember one other core truth here. Ads do the targeting. That is not up for debate. And lookalike audiences and bids use our available data to cherry pick who can see that ad and when. But that doesn't ever fill the bucket. It just drains it faster. Now remember, Facebook knows who wants to see your post. Facebook is measuring the click-through rate and the bounce rate and the stickiness and all the other metrics of every web page that you're promoting. Not on your site. Every ad is a web page. Every Facebook post is a web page. The Facebook newsfeed is a collection of pages, just like Google search. Going broad allows Facebook to show those ads to anybody, starting new journeys at scale, filling the bucket up with new data every single day. Now, let me ask you a question. If you only ever talk to the people that you already know want to see you, how many new people do you think you're ever going to meet? When you're trying to scale a business, that's a really, really big problem. So let's think of bid caps and lookalikes as a retargeting audience. That'll make all of this much easier. Because remember, we're using existing data to go after people that we have data on that are likely to take action like those that have already done it. Now, we also know that nearly every single impression ever delivered, even at broad, even on a new page, even on a new pixel, even for a new business, with that very first penny spent, is ultimately still a retargeting impression. Because Facebook knows who wants to see your content. Facebook's not going to show your ad to somebody that doesn't give a damn because it's bad for their business. So Facebook already knows who wants to see it based on their previous data to bring you new people. All right, let's dive into that nightclub. Let's say we got a room full of 1 million people. Out of that room, maybe you've got 1,000 buyers. Your bid cap or lookalike will allow you to only spend and only show your ads to people most likely out of that 1 million to buy. So it's segmenting the giant 1 million person audience down to hopefully the majority of that 1,000 person audience that's actual buyers, potentially. And that's going to get you really good results right away. I mean, hey, look, you're avoiding wasting your money on 999,000 people. That's going to give you good results for a while. But eventually when you start talking to most of that 1,000 and say you annoy 500,000 of the other ones while you're at it, eventually you're going to have to start all over. Now that 1 million person nightclub that you had, it had a bouncer. You know, somebody out there letting people in and steering them in other directions that you have to pay. Now remember, you just kind of took a dump on that bouncer, giving him the finger and demanding money until basically everybody left the club and it was no longer useful for you to run business anymore. So you had to open the shop right next door. Now, when you start over, you're not going to get all of those 1 million people again because you kind of really pissed off half of them and you got some sales from that other 1,000 that were maybe going to do it. So when you start over, you got to pay that bouncer just a little bit more money. And they're going to send all the really cool people to the other club across the street that treats the bouncer with respect. That also isn't pissed people off yet. That's a really big problem at scale. Now, let's do that a dozen times. Set up a nightclub, drain it of all the money, piss off everybody else, open up next door. Do the same thing, only to a few less people. That 1 million might become 800 grand, and that 1,000 maybe drops down to 500. And you do that over and over and over and over and over again. Well, you're left with a much smaller room, and now you're paying CPMs of 20, 30, 40, 50, $60. Because you piss off that bouncer every single time, and every single time that you set their business on fire and open up next door and hire them again, they're going to charge you more and more money for doing it. Now, that's not going to work out for too long. So what do? You raise your bid, right? And you go after a new lookalike audience, only to repeat the process over and over again. But you never actually expanded that original 1 million person audience to begin with. So yes, you can make money today. But you're probably going to make less money in a month or 3 months or 6 months down the road. Your costs are going to go up. Your results are going to be less and less stable. Does that sound familiar? Have your CPMs risen since iOS 14 or have they gone down? Are you still paying more than $20 CPMs in the United States? More than 30? Are you in a situation where you can't trust Facebook and you decided, well, we're just going to run more interest groups and more lookalikes and more bid caps and just do more and more testing with more and more ads, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 a week? Are you doubling down on taking a dump on that bouncer? Just open up another club next door where you've basically built your business model and disrespecting people? Because you haven't decided to fill the bucket and build your business on long-term success. Rather, you're giving Facebook the finger and demanding money and then complaining when the relationship doesn't work. So basically, we're down to the real question that we started with. The next time an expert says the path to success is to set yourself up for failure, what's your response going to be? Are you going to lean into building lookalikes and bid caps because some jerk on the internet said, well, that works in a small little thing, but they didn't give you all the context? Has somebody told you that the path is that it's harder and harder and you have to work more and more and it's less and less stable and less reliable? Or have you decided, I can in fact afford to build a business and I'm going to run my standard of practice on something wild like not disrespecting people for a profit until I go out of business? The choice is yours. But I'm going to tell you this. If you're relying on big caps and lookalikes to build your business, when you fail, it's not going to be Facebook's fault.